Hey everybody, welcome to another episode. I'm Matt.
I'm Mandy.
And this is another episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us again as we dip back into the movies that shaped our childhood. And today, Mandy, what are we talking about?
Today we are talking about the Kevin Costner 1995 water classic.
Yeah. Everybody, let's get wet.
Post-apocalyptic classic? I don't know. Waterworld.
Waterworld. 1995, right?
Yep. Yes.
Ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And of course, as you're listening in or watching with us on the YouTubes, we always recommend that you, if you have not found a reason to watch Waterworld, take a moment, pause what you're watching or listening to, go find it streaming somewhere. It's currently streaming on Stars, or you might just have to pay for it if you don't own like a weird VHS copy somewhere in your grandma's basement. So take a moment, go watch the movie, and then come back and join us for the conversation. And you're back. All right. Thank you so much. It's the greatest of all time. And Mandy, you and I, we don't like to talk about these things by ourselves.
No.
I'm sure we both have some pretty strong opinions about this movie, but we need someone to either agree. We got to have someone take sides, right? So we always like to bring on somebody, to help along with that. So today we're very excited to have returning guest. What is this now? Is this third, fourth?
3-time.
All right. Are you?
Yeah, the first time we made him wait a year. Remember?
Well, are you counting the 100th episode? Because that's an appearance.
That's true.
So, there you go. We're adding one. Hey, look at that. We have comedian, showrunner, an all-around great guy. David Steves is with us. Everybody, David Steves.
Hey, thank you so much for having me again.
Welcome to
Thanks
the
for
Zoom.
coming back, David.
The Zoom experience this time.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, it's not as good as being in the comedy mecca of the world.
Right, Hastings, Michigan.
Making that drive.
But here we are.
That
man.
drive is always so good.
Especially in the wintertime. It's super awesome.
Oh my
and
gosh.
And after I've gotten trashed, that's always good.
Right.
Well, the last time I was on, you guys had a double dip episode.
And you were the second one, right? You were the after?
I was the first.
Oh, good.
I felt bad for you guys.
You didn't get to experience the one episode deep, Mandy, with the.
I think we did Red Dawn, and then we did Little Monsters. I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
That makes sense.
Because I was so wasted by the time Little Monsters came on. I was like, ooh.
You kind of have to be for a banger, for a Howie Mandel banger, like Little Monsters.
Yeah, you kind of do.
But here we are, man.
Anyway, welcome back.
How many beers did Mandy have to drink to get through Waterworld is really a good question.
2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes. This is the longest movie.
Yes.
I did not recall this being this long. And did you guys notice the end credits of this film, which of course, a lot of people are just happy to see those. It's like 9 minutes long for the end credits. I've never seen anything like it. It was crazy.
It was long. And I drank a lot of vodka instead last night.
Right.
I had but it's fine.
You couldn't get any straight hydro. You couldn't find any pure hydro for the watch along?
my hydro had potatoes steeped in it for quite some time.
There you go. All right. So, David, we always ask everyone before we get started, how long had it been since you watched Waterworld before we made you watch it for the podcast?
I believe the last time I saw that is when it came out on VHS. It was one of those blockbuster rentals that I was able to grab. I was 16 years old. So it was back in 1990, end of 95 or beginning of 96.
Okay. And when you say you grabbed it on, was it a rental or was that something that you brought home with you?
No, it was a rental.
Okay.
Actually, I had a snow dance that night, and so we were trying to pick movies that we could really make out to, and we both fell asleep.
So not everyone was getting wet then. All right.
Yeah, you got cock blocked by Waterworld.
No, we found land quicker than they did for
sure. So that was not a multiple time watch for you then at that point. That's.
No, I saw the first time. We didn't make it all the way through, so I was actually kind of excited to see it again because I was like, there was so much that I missed to it.
You'd think that, but
you think, but no, and it's funny because I know we were texting earlier. There are some positive things I did pull out of this,
okay.
So I'm excited to talk about it. But I do have an overall rating for the end of it.
Sure. Okay, Mandy, how about you? How long had it been since you watched this movie?
Gosh, I don't know, probably 20 years.
Oh my goodness! All right,
Yeah, I was probably. I mean, I didn't obviously I didn't see it in the theater.
sure.
I probably saw, and I think I only watched it one time, and maybe like bits and pieces when it was on TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is not my. Actually, I would have really liked it if the bad people hadn't been like they hadn't been so like the what are they
Smokers.
the smokers. I was like
Smokers.
I'm like
Yeah.
steamers. What are they called?
Greasers.
Yeah. They were just ridiculously like cartoonish and comical and
Sure.
not scary.
I
I
get
wanted
ya.
to be afraid. I wanted there to be like a purge situation, and there it was like, oh my gosh. It reminded me of Super Mario Brothers,
Yeah.
which Dennis
I
Hopper
was gonna say, that's
was.
the Dennis Hopper vibe, right? That's the.
Yes, and it was basically like Super Mario Brothers, but with
Aw.
water.
All right. Yeah, it did seem to take a few turns here and there. Like it would be like a almost semi-relevant sort of sci-fi type movie or apocalypse type movie, and then all of a sudden the weird ass what do you call them? Just the speeches, like the way of the accents, all those weird ass accents and everything else coming together.
Yeah.
It was that was super cartoonish. The guy who Gregor, the guy who plays Gregor. Every scene, it was like trying to find out whether he was going to stick with the accent or not. I am going to shut down I see I've stopped streaming video.
You're frozen,
again.
man.
Let me pop out the video and come back in again and see if that helps.
Okay.
I don't know why that's happening.
You're back.
All right. Hey, that was quicker that time.
So, but Matt, when was the last time you watched this?
Oh my goodness. It's been, I would say, probably less than 10 years, but right around that mark, somewhere in there.
Okay.
I would think.
All right.
Again, if it was on
But
TV,
you watched it a lot as a kid, right?
I did,
You've been like demanding this movie.
Yeah,
so.
I did. I've always thought that I've always had like a I've had an affinity for this film and always been like an advocate for it because everyone shits on this movie so hard. Like everyone, I think everyone saw it one time and then it was just way too long for a child to watch the movie. You know what I mean? And it was just like, this is bad, But I thought it was going to be good. And I don't know. It kind of held up for me. I enjoyed the experience of watching it again. Probably not the same with everyone out there, but there are some people. I think this movie is very polarizing. You either really enjoy this movie or you just have, hate in your heart for it.
No, I think that you really enjoy this movie, and most people.
Everyone else has
this movie.
Yeah.
I think people that really enjoyed like Mad Max, Fury Road, like it's like a apocalyptic on the water. It's instead of on dry land. It's very similar.
That. I liked Mad Max. I like that. I love Escape from LA and those types of things.
Sure.
Okay.
This was just it was really bad.
Not gonna have it, huh?
It wasn't just bad for the people watching, or at least me. Matt obviously liked it. But the people acting in it, like there was just constant injuries. There were constant hurricanes, near drownings. People were getting washed out to sea. The girl that plays Yola or Iola.
Enola.
Nola?
Nola.
Is it Iola?
It's
Nola?
It's Enola.
Oh, it's Enola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Obviously this wasn't my movie that got picked, but Tina
I feel like
Majorino.
I need to pull that moment out and then use that as like the promo for this. Just all of us arguing over how to YOLO, right? We're
right.
YOLO.
Well, anyways, she got stung by a jellyfish 3 different times. Like it wasn't the same jellyfish.
This is our second movie with her in it.
Yes.
We had Napoleon Dynamite also.
Yes.
She was Napoleon also Dynamite?
Yeah, she came up. She grew up to be the love interest in Napoleon Dynamite. She's what's her name in that movie?
I don't. Tina's the only thing.
I can only remember Tina.
No way.
Yeah, she's that's her with the side ponytail
and the boondoggle keychains and the whole shot.
Holy cow! Wow.
Yeah, that's her, man.
Glad to see this didn't hold her back.
Right. But this had to have been like a fucking banger for that kid. Like to get in like this huge movie with Kevin Costner and be like a child actor, I'm like, this is probably what should have been a jumping off point. And I guess in spite of this movie, she still continued. So
she almost drowned like multiple times. Like she was like, this is a nightmare.
So she really
actually
couldn't swim.
No, she could, but it was still like.
So they shot this damn movie on location, like in the fucking
on the actual ocean.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh my gosh. Yes. So the Atoll.
Oh,
yeah. The no, not the smokers. The
Enola.
No, you son of a bitch! Stop! You're messing with me so bad right now.
The atoll, yes, where they.
Yeah, their like little setup was a 1/4 mile in circumference. It weighed 1,000 tons, and it cost $22 million.
Jesus.
All of that, and they didn't.
So
put
remember that, David, when we talk about budgets, that's at least $22 million. So all right,
that was $22 million of their entire budget
just to make that rig.
And
it looked
not
like
only
a
that, but
shitty amusement park, like a
was
county
so bad.
fair. It
yes.
looked like aluminum siding and like rickety ass carnies everywhere.
It was so horrible. And not only that, but they spent $22 million on this thing and all these other boats, and they didn't include any bathrooms. So anytime anyone had to go to the bathroom, they had to ferry them over to like this barge that just had like outhouses on it.
Ugh.
So can you imagine? Like, hello,
Oh, yeah.
I would have been so pissed for the person that didn't problem solve that shit before it happened.
Right. And
Well,
those things cook
tea
in
and
the
food.
sun. They cook.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, no.
Ugh.
So let's step back away from this movie for just a second. It is it's a post-apocalyptic. Well, hold on. We'll give the little narrator guy at the beginning a run for his money.
narrator from the 90s.
He's all like the future, but they don't tell you what time or span that it's been. Yeah, the future.
The polar ice caps have melted, covering the earth with water.
How could this be bad? You know.
Those who survived
Yeah.
have
Foreshadowing.
adapted to a new world.
And this
Oh,
crazy
that's
ass
funny.
music.
Also, on top of all the other injuries, there were people that were getting like compression sickness because they were supposed to be like waiting underwater.
Ah,
Yeah, it was just a horrible like movie to be on. So
I guess so.
and it was a horrible movie to watch. So that kind of came.
There you go.
across.
There you go. Just bringing it right out.
There's
Just
some
coming out
bright
strong.
spots. There's some bright spots. Mandy, was there anything you liked about the movie?
Oh, I thought that they kept the mariner or whatever.
Uh-huh.
He looked wet the whole time, so they did a really good job with that. I thought that they kept throwing water on him, so that was good.
Sure. He's sufficiently moist for you. You like to have a.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kevin Costner is not someone that I want to see sufficiently moist all the time, or at least not like old Kevin Costner.
I was gonna
like
say,
young
was there
Kevin-
ever a time when Kevin Costner was like, the hunk that some people thought he was?
Yeah,
or
like
whatever for you?
I thought
Come on.
he was good in that. He was. Have we had a Kevin Costner movie before? We haven't, had we?
I
Have
don't
we?
know. I don't think so. Speaking of Dancing with the Wolves, has there ever been a Kevin Costner movie that's less than 2 hours long? I guess I don't know that's.
Even Tin Cup is brushing up
Yeah.
against that.
I think I remembered Dancing with Wolves. I think was like a two cassette like VHS.
Yeah,
tape.
it was
Mhm.
because we had it. Yeah.
It
Geez.
was.
He was good in Robin Hood. That was my mom's favorite movie growing up.
I
So
love that movie. We should
Yeah.
cover that movie
we
too.
totally should. I'm all about Bryan Adams too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
except
that was a
that's
song
another
to
movie.
my sixth grade girlfriend.
What was that song for?
My sixth grade girlfriend. Shout out to Alice Miller out there.
Nice.
Yeah, but she was.
Was it-
You were in 6th grade too at the time, right? It's not your 6th grade girlfriend now.
Yeah, no. We were all in the same
Okay.
grade, same age.
I was just
Don't wanna
double
get
checking.
confused with any other comics out there.
Zing. All right, check the comments
Zing.
for names. All right. Other Kevin Costner films. Anything else that stands out for you, David? What's your
The
what's
Perfect
your
Game.
go-to?
The
Okay.
Perfect Game. Yeah, I'm a big baseball fan, so.
Sure. Yeah,
Field of Dreams,
yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's probably his best one.
Bull
I can't believe I
Durham.
didn't come up with that one. Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Jesus.
Um,
Yeah, he's a big sports guy. I guess. I don't know.
He just doesn't have. Oh, The Bodyguard. That is my 100%
Oh, yeah.
favorite
Okay.
Kevin Costner movie.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have any emotion, and like he's basically like Clint Eastwood. I don't really like him that much either because he's the same character all the time.
This is
Yeah, I
another
was gonna say
movie.
he's kind of like that in all his movies.
This is another movie of his that no one ever watched, but I'm a huge fan of the movie called The War, which I made you watch that, didn't I? That's the one with Elijah Wood. Elijah Wood is a very small child, and Kevin Costner plays his dad. It's very sad. He comes back from the war, and he's all shell-shocked and has crazy nightmares, and then he tries to, like, buy a house for his family.
That would, I mean, at least he would be like Kevin Costner with emotion.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
it's all, like,
I mean,
sad and angry emotions, but, they're in there.
But
somewhere.
something.
that's the thing, too, is he's so unlikable, and he's so not somebody that you gave a shit about for like the longest time. Like I would have preferred to have like enjoyed his character more.
Oh, in this movie? Well, I think the whole point of it was to be this like aloof sort of like
mutant
shadow and like
I guess
to come in from the depths and just wreck the joint, man. That's the whole point. Like she like really played it up. She had her big speech when she like described the Mariner. Here, I'm going to play that now just since we're talking about it. This is how ominous of a character he was.
He's not a freak, and he can take you anytime. Dozens of people. He doesn't have any mercy.
She had a nice little monologue here. I was like, this is like, good
girls.
job, kid. Way to go.
Getting nervous, aren't you?
Getting nervous.
I can hear her from the Pulling Dynamite in that.
Yeah.
That's free.
Then we have Donald Trump shows up in the movie.
Oh my God. Yes. I thought the same thing. 100%.
There is no better villain than Dennis Hopper in the 90s. There really isn't.
There you go.
I wish that he could do a Trump impression right now, but he's dead. So.
It's basic. It's really close. Like it's pretty there if you give this one a rewatch.
It is so much the truth.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so let's start out with, before we go into like the good things about this, does anyone have any like blatant standout like questions or like things that shouldn't, like the idea that like there's still a diesel tanker floating around,
or there's just
like
that there's still diesel.
Yeah, hundreds of years presumably after everything flooded, and it's still filled with like actual oil. And I don't know how long it takes oil to like break down out in the open like that, but I can't imagine it would still be like usable at this point. So I don't know.
And they used it up, like they just you know what I mean. And the guy, I don't know, I did enjoy the guy that was in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Why was he down? Like, is that his job?
Yep.
I don't get it. How do you get him food? Like he's just floating in the oil.
I know.
He's on his little oil boat down there.
But when he saw the flare come down, he had the perfect line.
Yeah. Oh, thank God.
Oh, thank God. Sober. The little girl, Enola, or whatever, she was in When a Man Loves a Woman the year before this movie came out. I had to look it up. And she's amazing. Meg Ryan plays an alcoholic, and she's her daughter.
Okay.
And there's a scene where Meg Ryan's super drunk, and she turns around and like hits her and stuff. Oh, it's so good. It's kind of as depressing as the war movie that you were talking about, I think.
Yeah, right. It's weird that Meg Ryan will like hit real fast. Like she had a big flash in the pan and then just kind of nothing. Like I haven't heard from Meg Ryan in so long.
It's because she had tons of work done. She looks like a fish.
Well,
she would have been perfect for this movie.
There you go.
Awesome.
Staple some gills on, and you're good to go. Yeah.
Sorry, David, I kind of
Part
interrupted. Was there something like that you had questions about for the movie, like that you were just like, "What the fuck"?
No, I just like the part that made me like super uncomfortable was that guy that they find out in the middle, and they're trying to barter and trade with him. And I think he's on Sons of Anarchy, is where I recognize him the most from. But he's in a lot of movies.
Yeah, he was in. We just had the Bad Boys. He was one of the dudes in the car in Bad Boys at the beginning when they try to like carjack them.
Okay. Yeah.
But hold on, here I've got a clip of him. He's this line when he talks about paper, when he pulls out that tube and he opens it up and he pulls out the paper. Mm-hmm. Whenever anyone mentions anything about paper in my brain or sometimes out loud, I start doing the like, oh, paper, where'd you get paper? Look at it, it's paper. You know, like he's so impressed by paper.
Don't find any who follow the rules anymore.
I do like him. His character is interesting. He's a creep, but he's very interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
I kind of want to know his backstory too.
I want to know what the resin's for.
He's got to be out of his mind. He wants resin.
You've been out water a long time.
He sounds like a leprechaun at parties.
Yeah.
He does.
Talk to me, man, Ross, and you don't got enough.
How about food?
He's Scottish, though. He has a Scottish accent.
How about food?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I got to get through the rest of this because he talks about paper at the end.
I don't have I don't have it.
I took it off from the Tola refugee.
Here we go.
The life savings of the entire clan.
What is it?
Life savings of an entire clan.
Here it is. It's paper.
Oh, paper. Have you ever seen paper?
You ever seen paper? I love it. It's my
You
favorite
sound
thing.
just like him. Like I have a hard time like I have a hard time figuring out if you're actually saying it or if it was him.
There we
That's pretty impressive.
I love it. He's my
It's
favorite
one of those
person.
bank like syllable
Yeah.
things that you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or I just was like, it's one of those like jars with like pretzels inside or something, like one of those gigantic things. Like when he
You get
lifts
from
up
Costco.
the dirt, like he pulls up that dirt jar and they're like, oh my God, it's dirt.
Well, for one thing,
Also-
where did they get the jar? Where did they get any jars?
Well,
Where did
I
they
mean,
get clothes?
He can fish around down below and
He
like
can,
clean stuff up. But like, I don't understand. Can he go like way the fuck down? Because if like, so that logistics wise, that doesn't make any sense, right? Even putting her in a diving bell and going that far down, she would have the bends or something. Like she would die, right? Like she wouldn't be able to survive.
The pressure.
Yeah, the pressure. Yeah.
Because I mean, that's got to be like so far down. Otherwise, people would just be like, "Oh, the ground is down here." What? Like no one thought to go diving. Oh, yeah. I don't know.
They have all those they have like all the monsters and stuff in the water.
Sure.
So
I guess that's
I
true.
don't know.
People were too afraid to go down for that. I guess
That was supposedly that was like a digitally altered Denver. Just so you know, in case.
Oh,
was interested.
Okay.
Weird.
Yeah.
All right. So they were in the U.S. then, over top,
Yeah.
floating over the U.S.
You can see it says the Norwest building is the one that shaped kind of like a cash register. I guess you can see it. But
Weird.
who really looks that closely at this movie? Most people are trying to make out, but they fall asleep anyways because it's just that boring.
For sure.
Yeah, we didn't make it to the underwater city. We did not make it to the underwater city.
I was waiting for someone to be on that floating like plastic mass that we have right now. It's like the size of like Rhode Island or something. Isn't there one out in the ocean right now that's just floating around? Like that's a place to be, man. Like if this happens, you just go find yourself. You set up shop on the floating garbage pile and you rope it off. Like set up boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, think about all the stuff that's made of plastic. You'd be able to do so much. You couldn't eat it, obviously.
Well,
so if he evolved, how come there's not more of him?
Right.
Like there should be a lot more people. Like if they're saying, "Hey, he evolved to have gills," which is what they allude to in the movie. Yep. I was like, well, why isn't there a whole gang of these freaking fish people that are just racking up the points here? Like this is easy pickings for them.
Right. For
it
sure.
Seems like when they scream mutant though, like that's something that's common. They're like, "Oh no, he's a mutant. Get out of here. Don't fuck our women because then we're all gonna have mutants."
So it's really a movie about equality, guys. Like that's what we need to learn here.
Yeah, this is a precursor to X-Men.
Yeah. And even Gregor mentions he's like, I want to know what you are and if there are more of you and stuff. So he's pretty aware of what's going on.
I think I had already had enough vodka where I didn't remember that part.
For sure. But, yeah. So we just mostly got to focus on the beginning of the movie.
So I do want to talk. Okay, so I'm giving away a lot about budget, but it's because it's super interesting, and I mean, there's not a whole lot interesting about this.
I took it upon normally I will go and watch like the things you didn't know about the movie or any of that stuff. I watched zero things about this movie. I wanted to be like completely like unaware of what's happening here. So this is fun.
This was like Kevin Costner's total obsession. He was on set for 157 days, and he worked 6 days a week. But get this. Wow. So he ended up putting $22 million of his own dollars into the movie because they weren't going to make it the way that he wanted it, basically.
So he bought a floating atoll with no bathrooms, basically? That's what...
Get this, though. So Kevin Costner stayed in an oceanfront villa with a butler, a chef, and a private swimming pool for $4,500 a night.
Yikes.
What? Crew members were forced to live in uninsulated condominiums that were subjected to temperature swings of 50 degrees depending on the day. And so the inequity of accommodations contributed to the hostility and morale, and also to the amount of money that they put into this movie.
Wowzers.
So it makes you think what a D-bag, I don't know. But in a way though, he had to constantly have water thrown on him. Like that was a thing. That's why I said that.
Sure.
And so in a way, you almost need to have some kind of reprieve from that.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. David, would you be able to survive in a world of water only? Like, is that something that would freak you out, or would you be okay with that?
So I went swimming with my girls yesterday because it was Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you, Matt, my friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And
you too.
Mandy, to your husband.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so I went swimming at Mark and Glen for 2 hours, and I was done. I started getting pruny already. And after the 5th time of let's try to find a cool rock, I was like, I'm pretty done. I'm pretty. Yeah. I mean, I float good though.
So there you go. Yeah. If you find me and I have drowned, there's something seriously wrong because it's going to be tough for me to go
You're
under.
super buoyant.
Yeah, I'm not going to go under
I'm
and
very
stay
buoyant.
under.
You just got tired of your face down. You just got tired of holding your head back.
For sure.
You're just like, I can't do this. I'm putting my face down.
Mandy, how about you? Could you survive in a water world?
I think
that's
probably.
If you had a pontoon boat, that's it.
I mean, I am on my boat. I have a pontoon. I have a pool. We go to the beach. Like we pretty much swim every single day.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily enjoy swimming in salt water, or at least how I feel afterwards.
There you go.
So, and just like when the wind comes off the ocean, it just dries you out. And I have really dry skin anyways. So
just imagine that, so all of these people, presumably everyone in this movie was like born into this environment. You know what I mean? Like that's just how things are all the time, I guess. That would be a problem for me, I think. I don't know that I could manage just hanging out in the water for the rest of my life. It seems like an awful experience.
I do think that I would be a smoker. Like I think that I would be one of the bad guys.
For sure.
And the jet ski.
Yeah. Like I'm pretty sure, like if you look at the two, like you can live in this society that's like of constant fear and they're all starving, and like I would be like, nope, like put me with the bad people. I'll try to kill as little people as possible, but I really want to eat, and they had a lot of fun. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean they had a ton of cigarettes.
Yeah, that's true.
Like so
where
many
did they
cigarettes.
get the cigarettes? Seriously, where?
Like 500-year-old cigarettes, 500-year-old cans of whatever smeat they were throwing out off the deck when he was giving out alms to the people. He was just chucking cans overboard.
Which to me reminded me of when Trump was throwing out paper towel rolls. Yep. I was like, this is so crazy. And his speech was still so untruthful and so didn't make any sense at all. I'm like, this is what it's like to be at a rally. Like,
did you watch his 12-minute explanation for why he walked down the ramp so funny at his rally that he did? I sat through the entire 12 minutes of him explaining to his 6,000 people why he walks funny down a ramp. It was the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, good Lord. So, no, I can't.
A general was right next to him, walking just fine.
Yep.
He's like, his shoes had rubber on them. I'm like, what is? All shoes have rubber. Yeah. What do you have? Patent leather soles, you dummy.
That's what he said. Yeah. leather bottom shoes, nothing but the best for old Donnie T.
Get him some Skechers. Jeez.
Yeah. Go.
You a billionaire can't afford rubber on your shoes, you moron.
Also, not to change the subject because I love dissing on Trump like more than you know. But this is another thing that Kevin Costner did that was like super expensive. Is he demanded that FVX crew hide his receding hairline digitally. And back in 1995, that's like a difficult thing, in general. So yeah, that cost a ton of money.
I did think his hair was kind of wispy in this movie. Like whenever it was out and down, he had that weird like half pony thing going on for most of it.
Yeah. No, gross. And no, that like other than that one, the saxophone player and
Lost Boys.
In Lost Boys, everyone else looks horrible in that haircut.
Rips to Shoemaker, by the way, the director of the Lost Boys. He died today.
Ooh.
Oh no!
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yep,
that sucks.
I think he's done a couple of our movies that we've covered so far. So
I think so.
Sad panda.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Too bad.
Let's bring this back around to the movie. Standout. I mean, there are only a few key characters in this movie. Anybody got any standout performances? Anybody that were? By the way, if you're listening into this expecting to get a bunch of like awesome input on the movie Waterworld, you came to the wrong place. All we really care about is people's fun experiences with us. So, David, if were you to pick a particular character you enjoyed out of this dirge of a movie, what do you think you're going to go with?
I think Dennis Hopper played a great villain. I think he provided a lot of comedic relief at times, provided a lot of lighter points throughout, this length of a movie. And I just think he just plays the bad guy so freaking well. That was the one part I really enjoyed of the movie.
Nice.
I have never disagreed with a guest more on any point ever.
Well, let's hear in a little bit. Let's listen to a little bit of Dennis Hopper's speech here, and we'll hear what he's talking about here.
There he is.
Oh, this is the lead up to it. I love this guy. The Deacon.
He's got his hype guy.
Yeah, the Deacon of the D's. Yeah. Get to it. Had to do a lot of editing in this, just removing a lot of
Imagine.
chanting and crowd noise.
Children of the provider,
Just is so Trump.
citizens to the good ship.
Oh wow, he really does sound a lot like him.
So bad.
I've had a vision.
You're damn right. So great. Splendidness. He's just making up words. This is Trump, man. It's Bigley all over again, you know?
Oh, so bad.
Yeah, but this is a movie. I expect it in a movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Mandy, did we get your big standout performance at all?
Obviously Enola, because she's so little.
Yeah.
I thought she did a really good job. But I really thought that the guy that really wanted the water, the hydro, that he was fiending an alcoholic for water. I mean, it was very short.
The
and
first
the guy
guy
was
that gave the information about the girl
Yes.
with the tattoo. Yeah, that guy.
Yes. And he's just like, "Ugh,
I have a clip of him.
water."
I said,
Oh, good.
Drunk guy talks about girl with tattoo.
I just want one sip of hydro.
No, not till you tell me.
And then we had
Inklings
like
on her back.
angry
They
Michael
say
Bolton
if you
here.
leave the marks on the child,
Like
they'll lead
bizarro
you
Michael
all the
Bolton.
way to
Let's
dry
see.
land.
Dry land's a myth.
Well, some still believe. They say the smokers even got an eye out for her.
Well then, we better keep it to ourselves.
That guy. That guy's like the classic 90s
Yeah.
sub villain. He's like the
Right.
Yeah.
Guy.
He's a henchman.
Yeah.
He would have been a lethal weapon, but he wouldn't have said anything.
right. Yeah,
I like when he finally drives the car. He's like, I always wanted to drive this right before he dies.
Love it.
Like, living your dream, buddy.
What about you, Matt? Did you have a standout character?
I mean, it was I enjoyed the priest guy on the first atoll that he goes to, and I think I have some of. Oh no, I have when they ask. I said this clip is called "We Need Your Jizz" when they propose.
Yes.
I've got a proposition for you, Marina.
This guy.
I'm not staying.
We're not asking you to. All we want is you see.
We can look to our own for impregnation.
Love it.
But too much of that sort of thing gets undesirable.
Not enough branches on the tree.
Run away with all the supplies you need.
And then this is real sad.
You don't have anything. You're dying.
Wah, wah, wah.
I've got
Yeah, I think that was. Have you guys ever seen The Postman?
I don't
With
think
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, I have.
So
it's pretty similar.
Yeah, it's this movie except dry land. It's everything's shut down, the government disbanded, and it's just chaos, and it's like dystopian future nonsense, whatever. But he goes to a settlement in a town somewhere, and they basically do the same thing. They're like, we need you to impregnate one of us because we all live here, and we don't want all of our people to be from here where we live, you know? Yeah, so that's a very good movie too. I would recommend. In fact, I enjoy that movie like 1,000% more than this movie. It was time to do Waterworld instead. So, all right, we are getting to the end of our first half here. So before we do that, we need to have our little activity we do with the guests, and it's got a clip that sounds like this.
Chop this synopsis. Chop this synopsis. Chop this synopsis.
All right, with Chop the Synopsis, we need you to take this movie, Waterworld, and reduce it down to 10 words or less. So chop that synopsis down to 10 words or less, and we will get your response from that after the break. Until then, we will be right back after these messages.
Jamie, I need you to keep the dogs quiet. I'm recording a commercial for the Elemental podcast, so can you keep them quiet during this recording of my commercial for the Elemental podcast? I mean, I know the dogs bark a whole lot when we actually record the podcast on Mondays and Thursdays and during the Patreon on Saturdays. But during the commercial, we need the recording to be dog bark free. Can you do that for me, Jamie? Can you keep the dogs quiet during the recording of this commercial for the Elemental podcast that people can listen to every Monday and Thursday and the Patreon on Saturday? Can you do that for me, Jamie? Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate it.
Chop this synopsis.
And we're back. You know, I had somebody recommend that I just pull a clip of us saying "and we're back together" and putting that at the end of that song, just so I don't have to do it by myself anymore, and you can participate by proxy. You know.
Oh, all right.
David was just asking us before we started recording again when we're going to go back to recording like live together again, and I just don't know that that'll happen. I don't
really.
No.
It's just so much easier to do it this way.
More efficient.
Yeah, and we get the extra added bonus of the video content as well. So.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man.
Yeah, no. I know it's kind of tough, but well, I mean, you know, obviously.
And my keg is here, and I don't have to drive, which is.
You have a keg?
Yeah. Well, my husband brews, which Bob Fredericks, fuck you. This is Two Hearted that my husband brewed instead of giving me shit about always buying kegs of Bud Light. Which we actually started because of COVID. We had a kegerator because Mark brews beer, but excuse me, that was attractive. But yeah, he. So when COVID started, we would have had so many cans, and now we can return our kegs, which we have 3 empty ones.
Wow.
I mean,
So
it could be worse. You could be drinking your own piss, right? I mean,
that's a hell of a way to start off a movie.
Right, way to kick this one off. And I want to say that scene was in the trailer, or at least one of the trailers I remember seeing for this movie. And I'm wondering if that maybe didn't turn some people off too, that were like, fuck this movie, I'm not into that sort of thing, and I don't want to watch this. But he goes.
But think about how many people were in or are into piss,
sure,
and that
again,
would have been like, this is the movie for me.
Man, this is Trump's movie all over it, man. We got
Trump and R. Kelly.
You got drinking piss. You got some weird ass dictator guy. You know, this is great, man. He's all over it. But anyhow,
awesome. All right.
So let's get into. We're gonna meet Gregor first.
Wait,
oh no, shit!
Are we gonna do synopsis?
Synopsis,
we gotta do
right?
the end of our damn game. I'm trying to jump ahead already. All right, now it is time for the rousing conclusion of Chop This Synopsis. So David, if you could please regale us with your 10-word or less synopsis of Waterworld.
10 words is not enough to describe this.
It's a 2 hour 15-minute movie, man. You got to cram it in there.
I know. So I came up with, apparently climate change is real. We have heroes and villains.
There you go.
I love it.
Come on.
And yes, it is real.
I'd watch it. I'd click on that movie.
When they were like the polar ice caps melted, I'm like, holy crap, we're living it.
For real.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Now.
I just heard that in Siberia it was 100 degrees today.
Yikes.
So that's like
scary.
Unheard of.
It's all happening. Yeah.
It's all happening.
And it's actually all on a government website, not to get like all theorists on you, but when I was in a corporate social responsibility role, and so out of the past 20 years, 19 of those years have been the highest temperature on record, and it just keeps getting worse every year. And you can catch it on NASA.gov.
Sure,
like,
but I mean, do you have any proof though? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the recorded temperatures by scientists who like do this.
Oh yeah, but I mean scientists though. I mean like
I mean really, they can't be trusted. Can
right?
they?
It's all fake news.
I don't know, like scientists who like graduate top of their class too.
Right.
Like that's what's.
I mean, if you're working at NASA, you're fucking smart, right?
Sure.
I would trust you over a politician. That's
well, I would trust the janitor who works at NASA over my.
I know.
Everybody else. So.
True story.
But so here, have you? So let's say this starts happening, right? You catch word that this is going on. People start freaking out. The borders start closing in. What's the first thing you do? Do you have like a bug out plan? Do you have like a place in the mountains you think you ought to go to? What's your strategy?
Yeah,
or do you just hold strong?
I think I commandeer a battleship. To be honest with you.
There you go.
I just take over a battleship. I'll need some Navy friends. I'm an Army guy, but I got some Navy and Marine friends that could help out. I mean, you think about it, you could fit up to 200, 250 people on a battleship, and then you got guns, and I mean that battle would have lasted really short time with a battleship.
For sure.
That's awesome.
And that's
also, where do they put the planes in this movie?
Where
the hell do they come from?
If they have planes, why have they not found dry land?
Right.
Where are they coming up with gunpowder, shells, bullets, all of this stuff? Where are they getting these?
To think about.
Yeah.
Just unacceptable nonsense. But if you put all of that past you, we still have a movie here that lasted 2 hours and 50 minutes.
It's funny that you talk about commandeering a battleship. That's a pretty good one. Like for me, I always think like I would like break into Costco or like Sam's Club. Like if there was a zombie apocalypse, I'd want to like live there, you know, because it has everything, you know. And yeah,
my first like my go-to was always like going underground somewhere, but clearly that is not the approach for this one.
No,
like if we start flooding in, we do not want to go underground. So I don't know, man. I'm just gonna float.
Then you'd have to climb a hill, and I just really don't see that happening for you.
For sure, I can just ride the wave up. You know, that's what I float. I'll just strap a cooler to my chest and then live the dream, man. Get some lawn chairs or something on some floaties. We'll be all set.
I mean, Mount Kilimanjaro would be the only thing not underwater. So
that's what I was. So it has to be
in Nepal.
Right, and that has to be the case, right? Or where did they say what presumably would be the high peak or whatever?
Yes, I wasn't going to say this unless it got brought up, but the longitude, either the longitude or the latitude that's on the girl's back through the symbol, like you can only see one. It puts you, they think, at Mount Everest.
Okay.
Oh, so yeah.
All right.
That is the greenest Mount Everest I've ever seen.
For sure. But I guess it would everything would sort of migrate up.
It would have, it would have melted. It would be a different climate because everything would have melted and been warmer.
Yeah.
We're talking hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense because the family who lived there, I guess, were the only people who survived, maybe, and tattooed the back of their child and just pushed it off onto a basket. Because didn't they say? Because they asked where the dirt came from, and they were like, the only time I've ever seen dirt like this was in the basket that we found Enola in. And I'm just like, how? Why? You just let a kid go adrift?
Well, that's Waterworld too, when you find out that like there's just these crazy like mutated pumas on the mountain.
No,
so
is there Waterworld too?
No, but there should be.
Oh, jeez.
There should be.
I almost got scared for a minute.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's called Jurassic Park.
Yeah. It's called Tarzan. It's their other kid was raised by wolves or whatever. No, this is where it blends in with the Disney universe, and that was actually Anna and Elsa's parents. They got shipwrecked on the Waterworld dry land, and then this is where we're at now. So we're going multi-dimensional.
She's a princess.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, and I would blame all this on Elsa for one reason or another. This had to be Elsa's doing. Like she made too much fucking snow. And then it melted, and she, Elsa was like, "Hey, let's all have snow," and then she died, and then all the snow melted, and the world flooded.
And then she died. Got to blame it on her for dying.
Mm-hmm.
So now those people just own dry land, I guess, right? Like you just stick a flag in it, and it's yours, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got that squirrely guy. We're gonna meet Gregor here. We're gonna play a clip of this guy.
He is amazing. The guy that plays him is awesome.
Yeah, such a
Michael
crazy
Jeter
bit actor in all kinds of stuff. He was in like the Green Mile.
Green Mile.
Yeah.
Yes, when he stomps on that mouse, Mr. Jingles or whatever. Yeah. I'm just like,
My name is Gregor. I've just come to pay you a little bit.
Oh, that is him.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm excited. Your gills, they're functional.
They're functional.
You're sapien. You can breathe in the water. How deep can you go? Look, I'm only here because I want to learn more about
I do too. I want to know all the answers to all of his questions, and they never tell me.
Yeah, he is. He does seem like a pretty intelligent character.
You don't like humans very much, do you?
Well, he does. I mean, he builds that crazy ass blimp, and I'm guessing that must be what hydrogen. I'm guessing because helium not going to happen, right? So there's got to be some sort of, unless it's heated, which I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know.
So in the ballooning world, right? You got to be very careful when you take off and when you land. So that's why they only go early morning and late at night. So where the actual heat coming off the Earth, they went in the middle of the day would keep them up longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at that. So that's why they always have those balloon shows in the evening. I always thought it was just so that you could see them with the fancy fire,
The glows? That's part. Well, no, but the reason why they only lift off in the morning and then lift off at night is because the core temperature of the Earth is actually cooled off enough for them to land.
Look at that. There you
that is so interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and you
plug the Balloon Fest there in
I know, right? It's so if we can go, yes.
Right, yeah.
Oh, they will be able to go. They actually announced their dates, and the only reason why I know all this, my ex-wife's father is actually a balloonist, and so I've chased for him. So when I saw the little hot air balloon thing, I was like, "Oh, that's cool,
nice,
fun."
He would do that.
So is that the same? I mean, I know you've got experience with like jumping out of planes and things, right? I mean,
Yeah.
does that also affect that stuff too? Like, is it a slower descent during like the middle of the day, or is it?
With
You know what I
me,
mean? Like,
it was
does the-
descent no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a pretty big guy. It was like, there's nothing keeping this guy down. I was
There
like
you
a
go.
freaking lawn dart.
Nice. Yeah, that's
no,
crazy.
we take off, we jump out of the airplane at such a low altitude.
It's not
I think
affected.
it's only like 1,200 feet. Yeah, I mean, we come down real fast.
Okay. Were you in the type where when you jump out, it like pulls it for you, or did you have to like pull
static line.
Okay. Did you ever do the other kind?
No, I'm what they affectionately call a 5-jump jump.
Okay.
So I only did my 5 jumps to get my airborne badge, and then typically you go to like an airborne unit.
Okay.
And I went to Iraq instead. So.
Oh yeah, that means you're a chump.
Yeah.
Well,
seriously,
in the airborne community, I'm affectionately called a 5-jump jump, which is still better than being a dirty, nasty leg. So.
Well, or yeah, exactly. And how many of those airborne community people that called you that are still living?
A lot of them.
No.
Okay. Would you do the other type of jump, or like, did you enjoy doing the jumps at all?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I love jumping out of airplanes. And actually, I was kind of jealous because there was a sergeant major, a command sergeant major, who's a very high-ranking enlisted person, who did his 300th jump with us.
Okay.
And he did not have to do a static line. He had like a nice toggle parachute, and he was like, "When you get to 300, you get these."
Sure.
That's so cool. But it was cool to be on his 300th jump. That was really amazing.
I feel like I would have not that I would ever consider doing this, but if I was ever forced to jump out of a plane, I would have to be on one of those ones that it pulls it for you, because I would be passed out before I ever managed to pull anything or figure out what I was doing, other than, actively shitting my pants. That would be my
which is
top
why
goal.
when you go skydiving, they have somebody on your back to pull it for you.
Yeah.
Good luck with that guy.
I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I heard having somebody on your back to pull it for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Hello.
It's the best way to do it.
Also, just so you know, the Dennis Hopper could have been Samuel L. Jackson, which would have been awesome.
That would have been great.
Gene Hackman, James Caan, or Gary Oldman, and I think they all would have done better.
I don't think he would have done. I think Samuel L. Jackson would have done better.
Well, he would have had the patch eye practice, right?
I know, that's exactly from Avengers.
For sure. That's the only only point of reference I have for the Avengers.
Do you want to talk about the box office stuff?
Let's do that, but I want to hit a clip here just because I have a few. I didn't pull a ton, but I'm going to go over. So I have Kevin Costner mentioning the name of the movie. You know how I love that when they. When someone in the movie names the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's the worst. I think it's so stupid that they write those in. I also have him selling dirt, and we meet Helen, and then we haven't really met Enola yet either. So any of those stand out to anybody? Want to hear any
Helen and Enola, I don't think we've heard from Helen either. We haven't even talked about her.
No.
She's kind of crappy in this movie.
She's kind of crappy in this movie, but I always thought she was adorable. I really enjoyed her.
No, you
Thought
got
she was
me out
cute.
so you could get out. Or evil.
She can cook. She can fish.
So can I.
I love it. So can I. Fuck you, bitch. Get off my boat.
Oh. What you went through back there on Atoll, I can understand why you would want to. She's a child. Is there something else then?
We get some of that sweet Helen ass right here.
Go below.
Yeah, this weird.
This is I don't like it.
This weird reverse rape scene.
Been out there a long time.
I mean, she's trying to do whatever she can to keep him from throwing Enola off the boat.
Yeah.
We're not like that.
But like legit though, why would he even consider keeping both of them at the time? Like right now, they fucked up his boat and like they helped him escape. I get it, but like just throw him overboard and haul ass. You know what I mean?
Because deep down, he's born to be the hero.
I guess, man.
Yes.
Also, both her and Enola are in Big Love, the show Big Love together.
Oh wow, that's an HBO show, right?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Fun.
So
All right,
I thought that, and we haven't said her name. Her name it's Jean, but it's Jeanne. So Jeannie, I don't know. Triplehorn is her name. So.
Okay. Fun. Oh, do you want to do box office then?
Sure. Yeah.
We got a theme song for that.
Theme song. Yeah.
Here we go. Box office theme song. That's it. Short and sweet. Box
Oh,
office theme
and
song.
before, just because I thought this was crazy, Jack Black makes a cameo as one of the pilots.
I did see that. And I
I
was so
didn't know. I
sad.
thought that was him.
Yeah. I was like, what?
I was very upset that I spoiled that for myself. That would have been way cooler if you had told me this for the first time just now. But I was looking up the name of, I could not remember the name Dennis Hopper for the fucking life of me. I was like, who is this man? What is his name? I know.
I'm slutty. I'm slutty.
I'm a duck-billed platypus. And I knew he was in everything, and I was like, I have to just know what his name is. And when I pulled it up, the cast, it showed Jack Black on there, and I'm like, where is this happening? So
yeah,
I thought I saw him, and I was like,
He plays
and then when
the
you mentioned it, I was
pilot.
like, holy crap, I did see him.
Yeah, he was the pilot, which was a pretty decently big part for being a background actor in this movie. I don't know that he had many speaking lines, if any, but yeah. So anyhow, box office.
Yeah. So how much do you guys think that it cost to make this movie? We've talked about the immense amount of money that was put into it.
Yeah.
In
So far we know
areas.
22 million for the
I already
atoll.
pulled up. Yeah, I started calculating what you were pulling up. I knew it was a flop, and I think at the time it was the most expensive movie ever. I thought.
Yes, it was.
At the time, it was
up until Titanic, which was like 2 years later.
Okay, and with all the stuff that you mentioned earlier, I'm going to go in the realm of $118 million.
Okay.
Okay. When you said this was like a pet project for Kevin Costner, did he have a hand in did he write this movie or direct it or anything, or he was?
They had like 36 different rewrites.
Okay.
The actual movie itself was over 3 hours long. They did so many different. They hired Joss Whedon, from Avengers and all that. So he flew in last minute to rewrite some of the scripts, and he said he later described it as 7 weeks in hell.
Jesus.
So
yeah.
They had, and the director ended up leaving halfway through. It was the same director as in Robin Hood, and then they worked together again on another movie. So it's hard to say.
Sure. I will say 150. It's got to be something astronomical nonsense. 150.
I love that you said 150 was astronomical because this cost $235 million.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
And now I had heard that this wasn't, I will find out here in a second, but I had heard that this wasn't technically a flop. It just didn't do as well as they thought it might.
Okay.
So that's what I have to go off of.
Yeah. Just to give you a hint, it was a flop for a very long time. It did come out in 1995.
Okay.
So at some point they went over the 235.
Okay.
Did they really?
Yeah.
They finally.
I never thought they would.
It wasn't for a really long time.
But I thought I had heard somebody say that when this movie came out, it was paired up against another movie that somehow it wasn't that this one was bad. It was just not as well attended because there was another one that was like a powerhouse at the time.
I feel like 95 there was probably a lot of movies coming out that would have been good.
But anyhow, all right. What do we think it made?
How much do you think it made? This is worldwide gross up until pretty much today.
I can't believe it actually made back its money, to tell you the truth. So how much did it cost again? You said $260?
$235.
$235. I will say it made $250 million.
Okay.
I'll go with 236 that I finally pulled in.
265.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
There you
Only
go.
because I gave it another $3.99 last night.
Yeah, right. Still making money, man. Yeah.
Oh my god, that is so funny.
You guys should get so much kickback from these movies.
I know. We've talked about that.
Dude, I wanted so hard to get a sponsorship from Family Video because I was even if people could just go there and rent them in person, we could try to finagle that. I was like, we'll give little gift cards to all of our guests. That way it makes, patronage for your bit. Yeah, but whatever. Here we are.
Just use coupon code, another episode, and you can track how many referrals you get.
That'd be the case, man. Let's do it. We'll work on it. That'll come up for our 200th episode. We got a couple years to get it figured out. All right, we want to move on to what's that sound?
Or ages.
There you go. Let's do ages. We'll do quick ages.
Okay. There's no theme song for this because we have to.
Yeah,
it has to be
it doesn't.
copyrighted.
YouTube does not care for our theme song. So.
How old do you think Kevin Costner was, David?
How I have no clue how old he looks pretty old, but I don't know if that was happenstance because of the movie. But I would say he was 44.
Okay.
They talked about him having the receding hairline digitally enhanced, so I'm going to say he was probably kicking up around that age. So I'll give him like 40. I'll just say 40. I'll say he was right around 40.
He was 40.
Oh, hell yeah.
Really?
Look at that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he
I
was
don't
pretty
look as
beat
bad
up.
at 40 as he does. I mean, I'm fatter, but I don't look as bad as he does.
Right. Yeah, he was looking kind of rough. Although he had been out in the sun he'd been wet for days.
He had those lines.
Yeah, I saw
in
that.
his face. I was like,
the tan lines. I wonder if that was intentional because so did Trump, whatever. So did
Hopper.
Dennis Hopper. Yeah, he had those
But
weird.
Trump has those lines too.
That's
so,
true. Yeah.
You know,
you can only
from the
so
spray
much.
tan. Yeah, exactly.
All right, who's next?
Okay. Enola, how her Tina Margarino, Majorino, how old do you think that she was?
So she had
Majorino.
This is one that you can tell with little kids if
he's a real
if their
Majorino.
big teeth have come in. So her big teeth that came in, and she actually looks a lot like my youngest daughter.
Okay.
And she's 8, so I would say she was 9.
Okay, I'm gonna say because she seems still so young in like Napoleon Dynamite and that, I would think it's got to be somewhere around that 8 or 9 range. So
yeah, she was 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
we plus or minus a year. It's hard because you never know. Like
she probably turned.
They filmed
10
for 150. Yeah, exactly. So, all right. How old do you think Dennis Hopper was when he played?
No, I don't know how old he is in relation to Kevin Costner, but I think he's about 10 years his senior, so I would say 50.
Okay. Matt?
I would give him probably a couple more, probably like 53, 54, something like that.
Yeah, he was 59.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and he
really
died he died, in 2010, so rips to Hopper.
I mean, that makes sense that he died, but I had no idea that he was dead. So yeah, that's rips to Hopper. Look at that.
Yeah.
We got to get cooking along here. We got to move on to.
All right. Well, Helen was 32. So
okay.
She's really young.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. That was my last one.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip ahead. I thought Hopper
no,
was
that's okay.
the final. All right, let's do the next game, and of course, it's one that we all know and love. It has a theme song, and here it goes.
I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Do you hear what I hear? What's that sound? Do you hear what I hear? What's that sound?
All right, it is time for us to play What's That Sound? And of course, with this game, that means I took a sound from this movie. I will play it back to you now, and you will tell me what's happening on screen during this sound.
I'm dreading this one because there's a lot of sounds.
Yeah, and it's not easy. I had to turn my headphones all the way up.
It
so
is
if you can
so
turn
much
your
harder when
up,
we're not like in the same
when
room
we're on
together.
Zoom. Yeah.
So we'll get a little distortion. So you get a pass if you don't get any of these. And of course, this movie is just filled with nonsense, music and noise and stuff. But here we go. We'll try it and see what happens. Let's do this one first.
Filtering his urine.
That is, yep.
Yeah,
that is the Rube Goldberg piss machine we get to see at the beginning of the movie. So very nice, very nice. All right, we're going to move right on to number 2 here, and that is this one here. I'll crank it up a little bit too here. It's very quick.
So I forgot who it was, but they threw a knife next to the dude's head and it stuck into the wood.
Yeah, it's whatever crazy Michael Bolton, the henchman. He throws it next to Enola's head, and when she's backed up against the wall there, she would not stop talking, and he got real pissed.
That's right. Or that was right after her long monologue.
Yep.
Yes.
That's how he basically ended it. She's like, he's gonna come and kill your ass, and then he's like, thunk. Right, and then we've got one more, and it goes like this. Okay, it's weird, a lot of noise, a bunch of stuff going on, but we'll try it one more time here. I'll tell you, it was a moment of like peak stress in the movie. It was very much like a, uh-oh, something's about to, so I don't know if that helps at all. But. Want to take a swing at it, and then we'll give it over to Mandy and let her give it, because it looks to me.
It sounds like there's a real.
Face,
I mean, it sounds. So I'll talk it out. It sounds like there's something that snaps with like the main sail and something, because you hear that reeling sound.
Yep, the reeling sound is definitely in there, but yep, it's not necessarily. It doesn't have anything to do with the sails or anything. In fact, I'll tell you, they're not even on the boat.
Really?
Yep, that's not a sound coming from when they're on his boat at all.
Is that when he's when they're like, "God, screw it, kill him," and they start to descend him into the guck?
No.
Okay, go ahead, Mandy.
Mandy, what do you got?
Is it when they dive in the water and you can hear like all the stuff like after they have dove in?
No, it is not.
All right.
I think for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and say what it is, because I seriously doubt anyone. I'm not going to want to make anyone watch a 2.5 hour long movie just to come up with whatever the hell this was. It is when they're in Gregor's blimp and he ties a rope around his leg and then says, "Tie this off," and then jumps before she ties it off.
Yeah.
That's the sound of the rope reeling down before she gets it tied off. And right at the very end of the clip is when they're finally like, "We got it," just before.
But how is that a bungee cord?
I don't know.
Because like it's a rope, but like he grabs her and he snaps back up. A rope won't do that.
Right. And the fact that it's like the exact distance that it needed to be to reach her, and not just like pile drive her into the water, like completely land on top of her.
You've seen this. Okay, so no offense, but you've seen this woman on your boat. You have not told her to help out in one way, shape, or form, and you're like, "Hey, tie this off," and then jump. Like, how are you so sure she's gonna tie? You haven't seen her tie anything yet.
Yeah, she's done.
Yeah, she might be horrible at knots.
Right, and everything you've asked her to do has been awful. Like she's done the backwards ass thing for everything, broken it all.
And one of the things that really bothered me is that Enola didn't know how to swim, and it took him one morning of just being like, "Here you go."
And how do you live in a water world and not know how to swim? Like,
I mean, everyone said she was weird, but apparently no one tried.
But I guess that leads us to the idea that she grew up on land. Like she was a toddler at least, I guess, when she was on land, maybe, because she's drawn.
Can you imagine for a toddler how fucking painful it would be to have a tattoo on your spine?
Yeah,
right.
A lot of shading in that tattoo too.
And not only that, but she would have grown. So like, what would have been they should have ended up in a much different place.
It's all stretchy. It's just
I
like
mean, you don't tattoo a map on the back of a child that's going to be growing. Like that's just ridiculous.
Well, maybe they just found her last week. We don't know what the story is.
All right, we have such a little amount of time. We need to get
all right.
plugs in.
All right, so that's the end of what we're going to deal with this movie. If you like this movie, thank you for listening, and if you hated it, I hope we did it justice for your amount of hatred. What is your overall views on this film, David? Would you watch this movie again?
I would not. I wish I fell asleep the second time through as well.
Yeah, you could have at least had a nice makeout session beforehand, but no.
Right.
All right, and Mandy, will you watch this movie?
No.
All right, moving along. If I owned this movie or it was easy to access, I would probably do it. I don't know how long it's going to hang out on Stars, but it'd be a good, a year or two before I'd even consider watching this movie again. But so yeah, and I guess that's it for the overall reactions to the film.
This is coming out in a couple of days, so you have some stuff to plug.
Yeah, this is your time, man. Take it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so Thursday, we got JB's Whiskey Outside Comedy Show. It is open mic format. We have 12 of the area's funniest comics to come and entertain you finally. We are keeping everything safe. They are social distancing outside, but we'll have everything set up. We have mic covers, so that's June 25th. This Thursday, or the day after this releases. So come on out, have a great time at JB Whiskies. So, and we have another show going up at JB's Whiskies and July 7th. So that's our typical first Tuesday of every month. And again, outdoor venue, which is great. So we can pack people in while remaining socially distant and making sure that we try to keep as many germs at bay as possible.
Sure.
Where is JB Whiskies at?
That is off Dickman Road in Battle Creek. It actually comes up in Springfield. But it's right really close to Battle Creek. But it's on a really good.
Oh no. Okay, and we're back after some minor connectivity issues. We did lose David during that, so hopefully he was able to get the plugs in. I'll check that in the edit, and if I need to add some stuff, we'll add some stuff. But otherwise, Mandy, here we are.
Yes.
So
let's end this shit.
Beast and call it good. Yeah. We don't need we don't need a 9-minute long credit outro for this. You know
oh yeah, no, I think we're good.
Do you have anything you want to have people look into or look at or do stuff or anything like that?
No, I think as things start happening, go if you're comfortable, and just practice good social distancing and wash your hands.
Sure.
But for sure, if you feel cooped up and you feel like you need to get out, please check out local comedy as it's coming back, because you're helping the business, you're helping the people. All of our comedy friends are like dying to get out. And it's just fun, and I highly recommend it. So go out and if you can go out and patronize those things.
Yeah, I was just on Matt Cook's podcast last night, and I was talking to him. I was like, a lot of these comics, as they're getting ready to come back out into the world, are treating this like it's a religious experience. Like this is bringing tears to the eyes of some of these comics that they've been cooped up for 3-4 months and not had any outlet for anything. So it's a big deal for a lot of these guys. And like I was telling him, for me, not so much. Like I could take it or leave it for now. I mean, it's not like I'm giving up on comedy, but I can hold off and see kind of how things pan out first before I get out there and jump into it. But
you have a child that you have to be aware of as far as like bringing things home. Who knows, with the reopenings of stuff, we're doing pretty good here in Michigan, but other states, it's a little bit rougher. So
yeah. Yep. And I'm trying to, not that I'm looking down to ignore you, I'm trying to find out the actual name of Matt's podcast. I want to make sure I plug it the right way, because that'll be coming out in a couple of weeks. It's called Let's Have a Beer. So if you go look up Let's Have a Beer with Matt Cook. And my episode will be coming out in I think 2 weeks or something. So check out that. And I did some plugs for the podcast, and we just talk about shit. I don't drink beer, so I just kind of sipped some water and called it good. But yeah, it was a good time. And so go check that out. He was just on our podcast. He was one of the first ones that we did via Zoom.
For our 100th.
He was on for the 100th also, but he was scheduled to be on the podcast, and I had to call it quits. Remember, I got super sick, and I was like, guys, I can't do it, man. I gotta call this real quick. And then that's when the COVID thing blew up, and everybody was like, well, I guess
it was nice having him. So that'll be awesome.
Internets. But yeah, so that is coming out also, but you can reach us on the show here. We did get we're starting to get some communications with people from outside of Facebook, which is crazy. We got somebody on the Instagram feed there trying to get us to do both Back to the Future 2 and 3 that we want to cover. Maybe we'll pair them together. Maybe we'll just do a big ass long episode. We'll do two.
We're gonna make this last forever. We might as well. And plus 2 is my favorite. 3 sucks such major balls. So I don't feel like 3 should even be like rubbing anything with.
Nowhere near the second one for sure. All right, well, we'll work on that too then down the road. So look for that to come out.
Yeah, and so if you suggest things, we do them. If we don't do them right away, we keep it in our little folder of people have asked us to do this.
Except for Beautiful Girls.
Great.
Yeah, Jason, who is like a satellite member of the Elemental podcast for now because he can't go into the studio there, has recommended that we do that movie. I told him that it was awful, and then he gave me a little Twitter beef. He's going back and forth with me on the Twitter.
Yeah, check that out on Twitter.
Yeah, I wish I never used Twitter, and I just happened to go on our account for the show, and he had just sent that message the day before, so it's not like it had been out there forever. Yeah. So it seems like I'm right on top of it, but really I'm not. So, but yeah, you can reach us at another episode podcast at gmail.com to make suggestions or give us comments or tell us what to do next. And if you want to see the posters coming out for the shows that we're doing the following week, you can look on every Sunday. We drop the poster for that episode, and that you can find on Instagram at Another Episode Podcast. So other than that, that's it for me. I mean, have fun out there. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Be safe.
Parting words at all?
Do you have a clip to send us out?
Fuck, I don't. I mean, I do. I have things I haven't played yet, but none of them are probably appropriate for
sending us out.
For sending us off. Here, let's see what. I don't know. I'm just going to play part of this and see what happens.
Okay.
What are you doing here? Just waiting. Take your hand off the sail. Take it off. Seen your boat before. Haven't seen you.
All right. Good enough.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks, bye. This is the worst send-off ever.
Right?
It's fitting for this movie too. It's just
I
like,
mean,
it's
totally. It's
kind of a
not,
dud.
yeah. Right.
Okay, bye.